Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm talking to the wonderful James Dand, who's an empowerment songwriter and trainer. And if you want to know more about what that is, this is going to be your fantastic opportunity to know more. And one of the reasons I've invited James is to tell us and explore with us some of the interesting aspects of transitioning from a very safe form of employment as a college lecturer and into this, moving from that into this wonderful entrepreneurial business that he's got at the moment. So let's welcome James. Hi James, how are you?
I am amazing, thank you. Yourself?
I'm brilliant too, yes. It's a beautiful sunny day here and obviously nobody can see that, but I'm actually looking out across fields and trees and sunshine. So it's a good start to the winter and a good start to January.
Lovely.
Okay, James, so perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what's motivated you to change in the first place. I've just explained that you transitioned from a very safe form of employment as a college lecturer. Can you tell us what was it that inspired you to change, and was there anything that was driving you to change? What was it all about?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So for me, really, it was lack of fulfillment. So I was within education, and although there were certain aspects of that that were fulfilling me, there was a lot of other aspects that weren't so much. And I was sitting in meetings. I progressed up to a managerial position as well. I was sitting in meetings, and although I still wanted to do a really good job, I was just finding that I was sitting there not quite fulfilled, not quite happy, really sort of feeling that something was missing in my life. And I got into personal development, and I became aware of how my mindset was keeping me small, how I suffered from low self-esteem and low confidence. So I started to work on that. And I just started to explore other opportunities, thinking, okay, what could I do? And I have many years' experience within the fitness industry and sports science. And I was looking to get back into the fitness industry originally. And I went on a course, and I came across a question on that course that changed the direction of my life. And the question, it was a lifestyle coaching course, holistic lifestyle coaching course. And one of the questions was related to happiness and fulfillment. And it was, if you were to die today, would you die knowing that you have lived your life fully? And that was a powerful question for me. You know, if you were to die today, would you die knowing that you've lived your life fully? And that for me was a no. And I spoke to the trainer at the end of that day. And I started to speak to her, and it became apparent in our conversation that my real passion, which was music, I wasn't actually following. So that was a little light bulb moment for me. And then I came back home, I spoke with my wife, and I said, you know, this is what I want to do. I need to be following music in some capacity. So really that was the first initial motivating factor.
That's incredible, because just one question at the right time in your life, or one thought, one inspiring moment, can mean everything, can't it? As you say, it changed your life. So you spoke to your wife, and I should imagine you went through a process. Was there a lot of anxiety or worry, concern about making such a change? And how was the idea of you leaving and moving into music received by everybody? Because you're not 17.
No, that's it. Yeah. So basically,
about the stress, really. I mean, I can imagine that a lot of people are thinking, I want to change, I want to do this, I've been inspired, and then they took themselves out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
What happened to you?
Unfortunately, you know, people can get very inspired. They want to follow their passion, they want to make their change, but unfortunately that won't be enough for them. They can feel great 1 minute, but that won't be enough. So I went through cycles, you know, I fluctuated. I was inspired 1 minute, and I really thought, yeah, you know, I'm going to go out there and rule the world and do what I want to do and live happily ever after. And then, of course, I had on the other side that little voice in my head saying, well, James, do you exactly know what you want to do? Are you going to make it? What about money? What about this, etc.? And I think that you need to be aware of both sides of that. You certainly don't want to always just give in to that little voice, otherwise you'll never actually achieve anything. However, it is trying to protect you from something, it's trying to tell you something, and that something might be that you do need a bit of a plan. You do need to know roughly where you're going and how you're going to get there, and you do need help with that. So I went home and I spoke to my wife, and giving you the truth as well, one of the other motivating factors is that myself and my wife, we've been drifting apart a little bit in our lives, you know, and we're back on track now. I'm going to become a father again soon for the second time, you know, but we found that we were both a little bit lost. You know, my wife had gone through a bit of depression, that was affecting us, so we were both a bit lost. So really, once I started opening up and really became vulnerable to her and said, you know, this is where I am, I'm not totally happy, this is what I want to do, it actually opened up communication, and we decided, okay, let's do this, you know. So she supported me. However, it was very hard for her as well, because again, I didn't have to, but I chose to reduce my hours at work. That put a financial strain on us, which we hadn't been used to before. And I've certainly had some interesting, should we say, conversations with the odd friend and the odd family member who really don't see things the same way as me, you know, in terms of breaking free, achieving what you want to achieve, and, you know, following your passion. But thankfully, through me working on myself, I've been able to remain in my power and, you know, sort of say, well, this is my life, and this is what I want to and need to achieve. And
that's very powerful, because a lot of people struggle to find out what they want to do in their lives. They know they want something better. And I used to say, there must be something better. There has to be something better than this. There has to be another way to live. And I found it. And again, like you, I looked at what I already had as a skill set. But you've gone into music, and obviously that's got connotations to it. Were people aware that you were a lover of music or able to perform? Or tell us about why you went into music, just such a creative area, and yet it's considered to be a very unstable area financially. What was it that drove you, and why music?
Yeah, so years ago I was in a band, and we'd had some partial success. You know, we'd been offered a small record deal for a song, and, you know, a couple of things like that. I'd got to the final of a songwriting competition, you know, UK songwriting competition. So we'd had a bit of success, but when that split up, I sort of felt the dream was over. So I really wasn't doing that much with music. So some people knew that I'd been in a band many moons ago. They knew that I had an interest in music, but I think it was quite a surprise to people when I decided to go back into that. I think within my job, I was maybe seen as someone who was quite academic, a professional, someone who's very organised, and of course the music side is very creative. But in actual fact, I'm split between right and left brain. I have my logical side, my sensible sides, but I do, you know, love and crave that creativity as well. And like I say, for me, it was just my biggest fear is being on my deathbed having regrets. So although, yes, you know, there has been stress, I've had to do a lot of learning, there's been a lot of failures with things as you know, as I've been progressing, all the time that I've got that biggest fear there, which is being old, being on my deathbed, having regrets, you know, that is a big driving force for me. And I just keep focusing on that and keep focusing on what I really want and my vision.
You spoke about disappointments and failures. So I know personally that, and by networking with other people as well, that business is never a straight line. It's a squiggly line, up and down, and learning curves. Has your business changed from what you thought it would be?
Definitely, yeah. So basically, I took a real leap to begin with, which was very unlike the traditional James Dands. I took a risk, I cut down my hours, and I said, I want to be a songwriter and I want to write #1 hits, etc. But I didn't, again, really, yeah, that's it. Again, that was all the, the inspiration and the passion there. But, I didn't really have a major plan or anything like that. So again, very unlike me. And then what I started to find is that there was something not quite right with that. I knew that I wanted to write songs. I knew that I wanted to be involved in music, but there were certain aspects of the music industry that I didn't like, and it just wasn't quite 100% there. And I started to be drawn by, a similar vision, which was writing songs that meant something to me. And this is the empowerment side of things. So again, like I said, I've gone through personal development. I've grown as a person. So when I write songs of a positive nature, about overcoming fears and achieving what you want to achieve, they're true to me, they're true to my heart, which I think is really important. That's an important message for anyone watching or listening. And it can help other people. The songs, the music can help other people. So for me, that then ticked the other box where I felt, okay, so people are going to get enjoyment from listening to the music. They're going to benefit from listening to the music. It actually enhances their mindset. I write better, and I'm writing from my heart, so that kind of is true to me. That's authentic to me. So that was really something I wanted to do. But again, I still didn't really have a master plan for that. So I did. You're definitely right about doing the zigzags, and I think a lot of people lack that clarity. If you have the clarity, if you have absolute clarity, go for it. But if not, you can try all the meditations and all those things, and that's great. That stuff is all great. But the other thing is just a little bit of old style trial and error. Be courageous enough to try something, learn from it. Is that right? Is that you or not? I took various courses. I ventured a little bit into social media and affiliate marketing, and I found out what I liked from that, what I didn't like from that. I decided that I also wanted to do speaking, but again, I was sort of trying to work out, well, how much do I do speaking, how much do I do the songwriting? So I think it really is a little bit of a case of trial and error as well, but recognizing that you always learn from the little failures that you have.
And I would say that's one of the aspects I wanted to talk about, which is this idea of courage and being brave, and then fortitude and sticking with things. So it's very easy, especially if you are a creative person, to be sensitive to failure and to have left behind a secure regular income to pursue other things. It's very easy then to succumb to family pressure, other pressures, and give up. But you've not given up. And then, can I just ask you, James, in my experience, I find that just when you feel like giving up is when you're about to flip. Did you find that when you thought things weren't working out and that people were right, perhaps, or you were stuck, you couldn't see which way to go forward, that things moved and changed?
Definitely. Yeah. The advice is generally not to give up, because so many people give up at the point just before where they would have made it. Yeah. However, it's still being open to the possibility that you might be going in the wrong direction, and you might not quite have all the knowledge you need to succeed. So I think it's a grey area and a fine line. You can have someone who keeps trying years and years, but if they're trying at the wrong thing, or they're just missing something, then they'll never quite succeed. So I think you've got to be of the mindset of you've got to keep going for it, but you've also got to know you might slightly go in a different direction, and that can be okay. And always have the growth mindset. Know that there's always new knowledge out there. There's always new ways that you can improve. And I think if you have those things, eventually you will make it. But the other thing is getting help. It's networking, it's getting coaching, it's getting help from people who can help you and have done those things before.
I quite agree. I think coaching, I've had coaching several times in my life and became a coach, as you know. But I think coaching is the in thing with education as well. We're involved in coaching at the college. And I'm just thinking now then that It's that fortitude. Some people, what they do is they keep repeating the same patterns. So they don't give up, but they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same wrong thing. Or that, like say something's missing and they're not looking, they're not open, they're very stubborn about their path. And I'm guessing from what you're saying, especially if you've, because I'd like to know a little bit more about what you're doing now, because being a songwriter is a little bit different to what you're doing now. You've got lots of doors and windows open. And I think the message there is that you need to be open to possibilities and follow the lead that comes. So can you tell us a little bit about what's happening for you now? Where's that journey taken you?
Yeah, thank you. I've got some really exciting things coming up. So one of the things I decided to do was to create an album, and I wanted to involve other people. I wanted to involve other artists so that they can do what they want to do and utilize their strengths, you know, people who can sing better than me, etc. And that album evolved into what will be a triple album. It's called Empowerment Songs. So there's over 30 songs on the album. They've all got that's a lot, absolutely. Yeah, it's they've all got a personal development related theme, again, like I say, having courage, overcoming fears, you know, so they can really help people with their mindset.
And you've written all of these, have you, James?
Sorry, say again?
Have you written all of these songs?
I've written all of these. So yeah, I've written them all, but I've got over 20 contributors, some people from England, UK, where I'm based. I've got some people from Europe, a couple of people from the US. So I've got people from around the world. And this is another key message, if I just go to an aside, again, surround yourself, you know, network, surround yourself with positive, like-minded people, get help from other people, you know, that's what I decided to do. And I'm getting benefits from them, they're getting benefits from me. It's a win-win situation, and that's what I was looking for. So they're all contributing. I've got some singers, I've got some musicians, etc. And we're creating this album that will be available very soon. And it's basically targeted at people who are into personal development, who want some positive, uplifting lyrics and tunes, entrepreneurs, people who are looking to make a change and do better in their lives. And yeah, that will be available soon. So that's one exciting thing I've got coming up.
Very powerful. That's a lot of work there too.
Definitely. But at the same time, I'm not doing it all myself. It is a lot of work. I'm managing a lot of people, which does take a lot of time. But at the same time, I'm not going totally solo, just trying to do everything myself. I'm actually utilizing and leveraging other people who will help to promote it for me as well. And, you know, I'm utilizing their gifts and their talents as well. So that's another tip for anyone who's looking to go into entrepreneurship.
So you sound very positive and very bright, and I know empowerment and singing is always uplifting, and some I've heard you sing, and obviously some of your vocals are very powerful. I'm just wondering, can you give some advice just to anybody who's listening, who's thinking, oh, I wish I could set up an art gallery, or I wish I could go back to my first love, you know, my creativity, and perhaps is fearing that movement too, because one of the aspects of that is, if you are in an organization, an institution, or a big company, you have got company, and to write that number of songs, in my head, it's kind of like, oh, James, you must have spent a lot of hours on your own. Where did you talk about support for your business, but what about your emotional and support, and during those times that were low, did you find that being removed from an institution and a big organization into your own responsible area of producing your business, did you find that difficult in any way? And what would you say to someone who's scared of that?
Wow, that's a lot of potential questions, a lot of different directions I could go in. But yeah, definitely you have to. Yeah, I can
imagine the fear that people think. And well, I know that people do have that fear. You know, what if? What advice would you give them?
It is scary, you know, to make the break for people that have been employed, especially for a matter of years. Although on the one hand, working for yourself, entrepreneurship, it sounds really sexy, really exciting. On the other hand, it is a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of perseverance, etc. So I think one of the key things that you can do is to try and be aware of yourself. The more you know yourself, the better. So, for example, with me, I'm naturally an introvert. I know that I can work on my own, work with peace and quiet. My environment that I like is not a busy environment. I like peaceful environments where I'm on my own and I can just get on with some work, and I know that I can remain focused to do that. Other people might not be the same, so they might have to be aware of that, and they might have to consider how they can sort of create an environment that suits them. I also, where was I going with this? In terms of overcoming the fears, again, you've got to manage your little voice, because sometimes you'll feel stuck and you'll start procrastinating, and you'll have this to do and that to do and that to do, and you start to become overwhelmed very quickly. Generally, if you're in employment, you're getting tasks passed down to you from someone else, and there's certain deadlines where your boss says, right, this is due in then. So you're kind of dictated to, in a way, to a certain degree. It obviously depends upon your job role and the profession, etc., but often you're dictated to. When you start entrepreneurship, it's really like a blank canvas, and you've got to decide which direction you go. And there's so many directions and so many possibilities that you can go. And you can start to go down one way and then decide you want to go elsewhere and want to go elsewhere. So again, it's trying to get help with an advice from someone that's done it before and can lead you, but then it is persevering and keep sticking to it until you do actually succeed.
So can I just ask you then, how can people who want to find out more about your album also find you at events, or how would you work with somebody as a coach? What can people do to contact you if they're interested in perhaps taking you as a coach? Because you're obviously quite wise now and experienced, and could offer help to people, but also how can they tap into your upcoming album and any events? How can they get more involved with you, James?
Thank you. Well, I do have a website. It's at www.empowermentsongzone.com. That's empowermentsongzone.com. There's an email address on there if people would like to get in contact with me. It's info@empowermentsongzone.com. So more than happy, if anyone's got any questions, because when I first started, I wanted help, I wanted help from people. I didn't always ask. So it's very important that that people know that there is people that will try and help you and offer some advice. So yeah, get in contact with me. I've got a Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I've also got a Facebook group called Empowerment Song Zone again, so you can search for that. But yes, I do coaching. I'm now helping people with their mindset. I'm actually venturing into helping people in the music industry, so musicians, people who want to do some singing or want to release an album, again, working with them on their mindset. I do training events, and I also write personalized branded songs for companies and trainers as well. So, I've started doing that, and there's currently working with a couple of people, a couple of quite big trainers who are looking to have personalized songs at their events. So if anyone's interested in that, again, don't hesitate to get in contact.
That's fantastic. I like the idea of personalized music as well. So yes, a lot happening for you, and obviously a lot different to how you envisaged it when you first started thinking, like, I want to live my life and be empowered. And I think it's wonderful for you, James, as well, to find that when you're quite young and have that fortitude to do it, because I ran right through the system, and it came to 60 before I decided that, right, okay, I've got to do something different now. And then it's daunting. So thank you for that. I think you've encouraged a lot of people, and I hope between us both we can show that making a change and being brave and consistent and persistent can bring rewards and make you happier. I certainly don't have any regrets. So thank you for that, James.
Definitely. No problem at all. Thank you ever so much. And I was going to give one last piece of advice.
Please, yeah.
Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to do what you want to do and make some mistakes, but give yourself permission, because you are the person living your own life. And that's what I did. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. So I hope you've all enjoyed as much as I did talking with James. And yes, all the information is below, and I'll see you again soon. So thank you very much. Bye, James.
Thank you. Thanks, Victoria. Bye-bye.